Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's I, the British Wolf, and today I'm doing a replay episode of Bust a Groove. It's a old game, and it's rhythm based, all from the shores of Japan. Oh, those happy Jappy chappies. But yeah, this came in the PS1 era, if you can't tell by the graphics. And it was quite popular for its time. It spawned two sequels, Bust a Groove 2 and Dance Summit 2001, which, like a novice series of game, the Disaster Report games, the first one was released globally in Asia, America, and Europe, where the second one was only released in Asia and America, and the third one wasn't released outside of Asia. So it's interesting in that way. Disaster Report did the same thing, where if you were English, you may know it as SOS Final Escape. But in America, it was called Raw Danger, which to me just sounds like a really cheesy 80s show. But that's beside the point. But I'm just doing a quick review of this instead of a playthrough, seeing as the game doesn't really have much per se. You play about, I think, 12, 14 levels. Fighting against various dancers by trying to outdance them. And the interesting thing about this one is, unlike modern rhythm games where you have to do a certain pattern on the beat, in this case you got 3 beats to input a series of commands, and then on the 4th beat you have to hit either X or circle. There was basically a combination. It started off easy, like you just hit circle on the right time, then you have to hit right and then X on the right time, and eventually it became complex patterns, up to about 6 different arrow combinations, all within the span of about 4 seconds, give or take, depending on the song, seeing as the rhythm changed depending on what song was playing. Some were slower, some were faster, but 4 seconds tend to be the norm. And it was quite interesting. A bit repetitive, because you will end up using the same moves over and over to get the highest score. There was jammer moves as well, which would disrupt an enemy's combo. However, you could actually dodge that and carry on with your combo and end up looking even cooler. I completely forgot how to, as you may or may not see in the video that's playing, because it's been years since I've used that. A year since I've used it, to be honest, and I mean, it took me quite a few years. It took me till I was 17 to learn how to play this game, because I started playing it when I was a kid. But it has a variety of odd characters. Like, Pinky is definitely interesting. She's an assassin, a fortune teller, a hairdresser, and a go-go dancer. And that's right, all in one package. A crazy sassy lady. You have Shorty, who is a daughter of a rich family, but she just generally wants to act like a normal kid instead of behave like her parents. Gasso's trying to make the perfect gas. Can't exactly remember why. I think it was dance energy or something. And Heat is actually a race car driver who crashed and finally and discovered that he had pyrokinetic abilities, which is interesting. Yeah, but there's quite a few. Like Kelly's also a woman who's into infantilism, which is basically, you know, dressing and acting like a baby. She changes persona in the second one, but I'll get to that in that video. And the interesting thing about this one is, as you perfect your combos, as you keep getting freezing combos, which is an 8 combo chain, the stage will actually change. Like in Heat's level, it gets so hot that the windows shatter. In Frida's level, there's a hurricane which blows away the hut that you're standing in. In Robo Z level, that's the boss. I'm not exactly spoiling anything, seeing as there's nothing to spoil. You end up having, you know, like cars going hysterical and freaking out because he is a giant frickin' robot you're dancing against on a rooftop. So, you know, there's a reason for that. And generally it's an interesting game, and also if you manage to beat your enemy with a decent high score and not that many misses, you'll actually unlock Fever Time during the end of the round, which will then have your character perform a dance on their own. Or, if both characters did a sufficiently good job, but one of them won regardless, then they both perform Fever Time together, which was actually a cool thing I only ever did once on Bust a Groove 2. And that was on the final boss, which I thought was well deserved because he put up quite a fight. But as I said, there's not much to this. There's a training mode, there's a 2-player mode, and there's a single-player mode. And then you've got this dance stage, which is basically you pick certain dance moves or behaviors from the game, and then they perform it automatically, but that's literally it. I mean, there's nothing there. It was an interesting concept, but it was a very small game, but arguably one of the best games of the PS1 era, even though it was so minute in quantity, it was good in quality. That's the thing. It was a great game just for being so tiny. And the second one did basically the same. Granted, it changed a little bit, but it was still give or take the same thing, you know? A handful of characters. I mean, granted, there was unlockables in that one, which expanded it by, I don't know, 2%. But otherwise, it was actually a wonderful game, and I can't think of anyone who would have a problem with it. Because, I mean, granted, I've never met anyone who has a problem with it, but I just don't see how you could hate a game which is basically, I mean, back then it was cheap. Nowadays, it's like, the last time I saw it was 100 quid on eBay. That's ridiculous. It was a great game, you know? Brilliant for its time, and it's kind of a shame that it eventually disappeared, you know? Because it was just weird and awesome in that sense. But, yeah, feel free to check it out if you can. Buster Groove 2. The third one is Dance Summit 2001. I may or may not do a video on that, seeing as I can't really get a clean copy of that without it breaking. But generally, it is it's a very good one. Oh, and Dance Summit's on PS2. Buster Groove was on PS1, Buster Groove 2 was on PS1, but Dance Summit made its PS2, but it wasn't a particularly good game in my opinion, so... Interesting, but not great. But yeah, this has been Buster Groove. I have been the British Wolf. You've been watching Replay, and I will see you in the next video. Ta-ta for now.